this is Project Sam. Welcome to our Living and Working Abroad blog from projectpartnership.com. At our Facebook page on Living and Working Abroad, you can leave comments and see our wide range of blogs, podcasts and articles and webinars that we produce to help family and business living and working abroad across border, and down the generations. We're particularly concerned, like our clients, about EU Brexit for expats, and we produced a guide for how EU Brexit will affect expats' overseas property, pensions and pensions when living and working abroad. So go along to our website at projectpartnership.com and download a copy of that. I am updating our posters, by the way, to say free reviews and webinars, because we like to be online and our consultants are available to speak to you using FaceTime or one of the other social media apps. We can speak to you around the world, around the globe. So thanks very much. And this video is about the battle lines that have been drawn in EU Brexit for expats. There's a real standoff now, but this brings clarity. It brings clarity. There's a solution there, but there's a lot of noise, and it's all about what is negotiation. There's an agreement with Brexit on many areas and topics, and but the problem is that the EU can't negotiate. The Commission cannot negotiate with an EU member state while it's a member. So the UK want to have customs and trade agreements all wrapped up now before Brexit, but the EU can't agree those. And so this stubborn approach had an impact on the EU. So when they had a referendum to join the Euro, the Irish voted no. And a stubborn negotiating agreement of the EU negotiated and came up with an alternative proposal which was exactly the same, and with the government's help in Ireland got a yes vote to the referendum, and Ireland went into the Euro for better or for worse. Battle lines have been drawn now, and maybe the EU is looking to apply those same rules to the UK, but the UK government has said no, that's not going to happen for us. If we can't make our own treaty, there's really, as far as I can see it, there is a viable option for the way forward. There's large parts of the withdrawal treaty have been agreed. The areas that haven't been agreed are the customs union and a trade agreement. Now, the solution seems to be what they're calling a no-deal Brexit or a UK general election. So the rock of the EU, you could have a no-deal Brexit, which would actually be the 80% withdrawal treaty they've got already, with no customs or trade agreement. So that could be agreed, and that could be presented as a withdrawal treaty, and it could be one that could move forward. The hard place is that the UK opposition, they want a general election in the UK, and why not use Brexit as an excuse to manipulate that election in the UK? So the British government have got to find a way around that. The UK will leave the EU on the 29th of March, so that is something that's agreed already. So in either way, there's going to be winners or losers. If there's no Brexit deal, then the main losers will be the customs and trade people, because big business will have to change the way it does business. When you deal with the EU, a UK company has one set of rules for all 28 countries, whereas after the EU, technically they have to then make separate arrangements with each country. But still, a British company will only have to make one EU agreement to be able to trade within the EU. And similarly, an EU country could be subject to one agreement with the UK to put that in place. But those agreements would have to be done, and they would have to be redone. and everybody knows they need to be done. It's just the EU aren't able to do them before. So there'll be winners and losers, but life would go on in the same way that anybody in the EU can trade with Norway, can trade with Iceland, can trade with Singapore, China, or the USA today. They'll be able to trade with them afterwards, and the UK citizens will be able to live, work and travel in the EU like they can anywhere else in the world. If there is a withdrawal treaty though, it gives time, because the one purpose of the withdrawal treaty is to allow a period between March 19 and December 20 for the EU to make an agreement with the UK for customs and trade, but during that time it's already been agreed that the UK citizens and EU citizens, UK expats, Cyprus expats, will have the same freedom of movement during that time. So if there's a withdrawal treaty, an EU expat has up until December 2020 to join the UK as an EU citizen, to start working and living there, and could then acquire after 5 years the right to permanently settle there and have a settled status with a right to live in the UK for a lifetime. Similarly, a UK expat with a withdrawal treaty would have up until December 20 to relocate abroad in the EU and create a situation where they have living and working abroad in that country with their business or as a pensioner, and acquire a right to permanent residency in that country indefinitely. So if you want certainty, what an expat should do is organise their affairs for living and working abroad in the EU or the UK before Brexit date in March the 29th. Already, timescales are a bit limited, bureaucracy takes a bit of time. Some countries allow online applications and they're sorted within a week or two, but as we move towards Brexit date, rules will change, demand will increase and time will be limited, and some people might miss out. There will be compromises and exceptions, but to assert your rights to live and work abroad, a UK expat should make their arrangements in their home country like Cyprus now, before March, to ensure that they can have the right indefinitely under the slightly easier EU rules of living and working abroad. So that's the summary today. If you want to find out more about how EU Brexit for expats affects overseas property, business and pensions, download a copy of our guide from ProactPartnership.com. Follow our Living and Working Abroad and our blogs on there, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.